is everybody doing? I hope you have your libations. I hope you are well. Woo! You know, you try to get away, child, and they bring you right back in. You say, I'm not doing that no more. And then next thing you know, here you is right back over here. Ain't that something how they do you? Well, listen, fam. Since we here, hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Since we all in here together, someplace we did not anticipate being to this evening. We are here though, and we are blessed at this moment with service. So listen, fam, we got to talk about something. I know we haven't really had a chance. You know, we talked about what we talked about last time. You know what you can say and what you can't. We talked about what we talked about, but we didn't really have a chance to. We didn't really have a chance to talk about what happens after that. Well, what you talking about? What you mean? What happened? Fam, something that we have been saying this entire time. I want everybody to take a moment right now when we look at what just happened. You know, you have babies that lost their lives at the hand of somebody who came into his school and did what he did. You had babies, right? And I don't think that we have had the time, first of all, to reflect what that means in terms of people of color, but we also haven't had the time to say, listen, we've been telling y'all. All of this stuff, we've been telling y'all. I saw a man get in trouble for I said, what is this about? I asked a fam on Twitter, I said, what is this about? What's going on right here? Well, this man is getting in trouble for saying, you know, this guy who lost someone there in the school had very conservative opinions, right? And I think we do have to come to a place where we have to begin to understand that, first of all, our conversation is not limited by what other people say we should be conversing about or what we should not be conversing about. That's not your business. We are in the business of reparations and a transformative Black agenda. That's what we're doing. But the other thing is this. We've been right. We told y'all, listen, we told y'all that the police be bullies. That's what we said. We said, child, they bully us. They follow us around. They decide on reasons to give us tickets. Y'all saw the Black woman who was unarmed recently, who was shot. They handcuffed her while she was shot. We've been saying that, like, this is a problem. We've been saying that police are here to protect wealth, not protect us. We've been saying this, and nobody's been listening. So let's have a conversation right now about how right ADOS is about everything. And why everybody needs to understand how right we are if y'all want to have any hopes of saving this country. Now, I'm not in the business of just saving things, but what I'm saying is, like, at least give me the monies that we're owed from the plunder so we can just navigate our way through this life if we have to do whatever we have to do. We might have to just get away from people who do things like this, but it's still our money. It's still our wealth. So a lot has been said, and I haven't really had a chance to really kind of talk about it, but a lot has been said about the police. Now, for all this time, people like the police put their life on the line all the time for everybody, and they deserve everything they get. People been buying the blue line shirt. We're going to get the blue line shirt, and I stand with the blue line. Now, how you stand with the blue line now? Now, we told you the blue line was a problem. Understand the police have no duty to protect the public. Wait a minute, Yvette, what? If they don't protect the public, what do they have a duty to protect? Wealth. They're the reason you can't run up in a wealthy neighborhood without getting stopped or arrested in your car. That's what it is. That's the police. No. Y'all just don't be complying. Y'all talk back to the police. Who the children talk back to? When the police didn't come in there and rescue them. It was an hour. So let's just, since we haven't had a chance to break this down, let's talk about what the police do. Just quickly. Quick. After the shooting, the NYPD was faulted. There was a shooting. And they said, do y'all remember, let me just take an aside. Do y'all remember that time the NYPD, there was some kind of thing and the NYPD shot up everybody except the perp? They shot up everybody except the perpetrators. Anybody remember that? I should have found that for this. Anyway, After the shooting, the NYPD was faulted for not stopping the subway lines because two people was fighting, somebody done attacked somebody else, and they just standing around. There are pictures right now of the police, of the NYPD standing around on their phones all day. Protect and serve. So let me start over. After the shooting, the NYPD was faulted for not stopping the subway lines, having their radio communication apparatus malfunction, and exhibiting a plain lack of urgency, as The Intercept reported. Indeed, some speculated that the only reason they caught the suspect, Frank James, was because, oh, no, this is about the man. You all remember the man who shot up the subway station and killed some people. You all remember him. It's been so many mass shootings, child. Who can keep up? He made it really easy for them. He had lunch at Katz's Deli during the manhunt before tipping the police off himself. That's fine police work. This fits with a number of incidents where police have failed to protect the public. Yet, as the Prospect's Ryan Cooper wrote, they are routinely given more money after tragedies. So wait a minute. Hold on a second. Let's stop right here for a second. You do your job wrong, or maybe you are doing your job right. You do your job with cowardice, and you are given extra monies. Is that how the monies work? I thought that's not how the monies worked. Didn't I tell y'all? How many times have I told y'all here? How many times have I said that one of the problems in this country is that we don't have a meritocracy? We have a system that rewards white mediocrity. Nowhere do you see that more than the police. You do not see white mediocrity rewarded more than with the police. I'm sorry, listen, I said what I said, and I'm not taking it back. Nowhere do you see that you cannot do your job, and the Supreme Court, and we're going to get to that, will say you don't have to do the job that the public thinks you're supposed to do, and guess what? We're going to give you some more money to go with it. And see, this is what it looks like. This is Philadelphia. Look at the police budget. Look at streets. Look at parks and recreation. Look at public health. Look at labor. Look at human services. Look at homeless services. And we wonder one of the reasons why we have a homeless problem. Look at behavioral health. You see that. And when we go back to this article, we're gonna go all the way through it. We find out they don't even have to protect us. That's not what they have to do. They owe you nothing. And we reward that with a bunch of money. But see, in a country with this kind of inequality, you need some police or people might get out of pocket. Let's go back. The questions that get asked in the aftermath are limited. Do police lack the resources? So do police lack the resource to prevent crimes? Or did they make tactical or logistical errors that can be fixed with new leadership and more training? You remember Joe Biden came out and said, we got to get more police out here. Police surrounded that whole, police was all around that school. You know what they were doing? You know what they were doing around that school where those children were murdered? You know what the police were doing? They were arresting parents. Now, let you be black in the streets and have a busted tail light, and they're gonna drag you all the way up the street. Let you try to get in your car and run somewhere. They're gonna put some bullets in your back. You paralyzed and in the hospital. And ain't gonna walk no more, right? Let you do anything. It's almost like you just want to kill us. That's kind of what it feels like to me. But let us do anything. Anything whatsoever, and what happens is we meet a terrible end. We ain't even got to do nothing. You saw a little thing where they had a little air freshener thing up there, and I'm gonna pull you over for your air freshener. Bullies when it comes to us. Bullies when it comes to us. Why? Because it's all about maintaining a hierarchy. It's never been about, when you have a racialized caste system like we have in this country, when you have a group on the bottom that you need to maintain on the bottom, and I'm not saying we're the only ones, but we disproportionately are them. When you have them, you got to find a way to keep them there, and that's the police. Because eventually we're going to figure out, everybody's going to figure out we don't have no wealth, and the reason we don't have no wealth is because you stole it. So what are we going to do about it? Oh, I got to have police in here. You don't even get to drive around. I give you 45 tickets. The police is also something we use to fund the whole city. Remember we had prisons leaving? Same thing. We're going to remember Ferguson. Remember the report that came out of Ferguson? They are using these little BS things to just, we're going to make a whole bunch of money off of you with all these tickets. Protect and serve, maybe not so much. So let's go on to Yvette. What you mean they don't protect and serve? What you said? Here we go. All of these questions are situated in the traditional belief that police are there to proactively prevent and de-escalate dangerous situations. The average citizen has been convinced of this imagery of police as heroic and uniquely brave citizens, despite being debunked both by the actions of police and the forces and the courts themselves. Let's go back 11 years into February 2011 in the same very place, New York City, as he told in crack.com video 4 years ago. Joseph Lazito was on his morning commute through New York City when he hopped on the subway, blissfully unaware of a brutal stabbing spree perpetually by Maxim Gelman that had been going on for over 24 hours at that point. First of all, 24 hours? Lozito would be the final victim in the stint. After Gelman boarded the train and confronted the police officers that were in a secure area, he turned to Lozito and said, "You're going to die." What transpired afterwards was what Lozito described as what every man thinks about at least twice a day. Lozito tackled Gelman and they struggled physically, with Gelman stabbing Lozito in the head until they both hit the ground and Lozito disarmed Gelman. Only then did the NYPD intervene to apprehend Gelman. So only after you have survived and to the ground and you done disarmed the man and you stabbed in the head, only then will police intervene. Let me tell you something, fam. I would intervene before you let somebody get stabbed. What in the world? Wonder what would have happened if he was down on Wall Street and somebody was getting messed up. What you think would have happened down there? So let's keep going. Child, 24 hours. He just run around slicing and dicing. 24 hours of slice and dice. Just 24 hours. Shoot, 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 shoot. In this case, one of the cops allegedly admitted that he did not intervene in the altercation because he thought Gelman had a gun. I thought you had a gun in New York. I thought you had a gun, so I didn't get involved because I thought you had a gun. I thought you had it, Chief. I thought you had it, player. He thought Gelman had a gun. Instead, hiding from the attacker. This prompted Lozito to sue the city of New York. He lost the case in 2013, but not because the Manhattan Supreme Court judge didn't believe him or because he lacked evidence or because the cops had good reason for not intervening. Lozito lost because of a precedent established by the U.S. Supreme Court. The cops do not have a duty to protect you or anyone. They don't have a duty to protect you or anyone. Let me ask y'all something. How do y'all think they were able to stand down after all those protests? Y'all know how whenever there's a big protest, especially if it's a racial protest, the police be just like, well, we ain't doing nothing. If you're gonna act this way, we just not gonna respond in a timely manner or do what you think we ought to do. How do you think that happens? If not for the fact that, or for one of the reasons that legally, they are not obligated to protect you from anything. So if anytime they decide they want to stand down and not arrive and beat the hell out somebody, whatever the case happens, they can do it. This is what happens when people are not accountable. I'm sure there are officers who want to do a good job or whatever. But listen, you're going to fall to that lowest denominator, which is, well, we ain't got to do it. Let them people rest to the ground. Let that man get stabbed in the head. Lord of mercy. Let's go to this next part. In 2005, Jessica Gonzalez sued. We're going to how this whole precedent and everything. We're going to how this happens. In 2005, Jessica Gonzalez sued Castle Rock, Colorado police for failing to arrest her husband, who had violated a protective order, resulting in the murder of her 3 children. Whew. Her case went to the U.S. Supreme Court in the town of Castle Rock versus Gonzalez, where she lost because even though the order required arresting her husband upon violation, then Justice Antonin Scalia, who I hope is on fire down below, successfully argued that a well-established tradition of police discretion has long coexisted with apparently mandatory arrest statutes. So police have the discretion to do what they want to do. They don't have to save your babies from being murdered if they don't, it's at their discretion. How many of y'all have had a job where like everything is at your discretion? Like if there's a court order or your supervisor say something, it's just at your discretion of what you gonna do. This is just wild. This is just wild. You know what I mean? This is just the wildest stuff. This is the wildest thing I have ever seen. I mean, it takes my breath away, quite honestly. But let me just continue. I don't want to get off topic. This case builds upon Supreme Court precedent in DeShaney versus Winnebago County Department of Social Services. In that case, a young boy was repeatedly abused at the hands of his father, something that social services was aware of but made no effort to remove the child. His mother sued once the 4-year-old entered a vegetative state. And the court ruled that the state did not have a special obligation to protect a citizen against harms it did not create. Fam, they're telling you that your government has no obligation. This goes further to police. Your government has no obligation to you. The place you pay tax to is supposed to be the representative and supposed to represent you. They're telling you, no. Government institutions do not have that. That's not what we have for you. We got something special for you. I'm just trying to tell you. This is some awful stuff right here. Based on these precedents, Lozito was told in the New York City case that no direct promises of protection were made to him, and therefore he could not sue the police for failing to come to his aid. In other words, the police do not have to act if someone is actively being harmed. They do not have to arrest someone who has violated their orders, and they do not have any obligation to protect you from others. People are still expected to call the police, and many do, especially given the lack of alternatives. But to criticize their effectiveness in solving crimes in the aftermath furthers the propaganda. It assumes that police are acting in the interest of the public when there is no precedent that says they have to. This is the case. We'll go a little bit into it just to provide a little bit more context. So what are we learning? All that stuff is kind of propaganda. All that stuff, the life on the line. Most of what they do is give tickets, arrive at minor squabbles. I don't routinely see like heroic. I see more heroic fireman stories than police, and I think what we have to ask, this is not just a rant about what the police do or don't do. This is a question of, this is really an acknowledgement of everything we've said is the truth. And not only is it true, you have to deal with ADOS. Let me just take this off screen for a second. You have to deal with us. when I say you have to deal with us, what I mean is that what has happened to us is a roadmap of what is rotten in this country. And even though it has happened to us and mostly and disproportionately to us as no other group in this country has ever experienced, what this country is telling everybody else is that, listen, if we need to extract a bunch of wealth from y'all and get a bunch of stuff from you, we're going to get it from you too. We can do you just like we did them. We can treat you the same way. And we can show you a little bit of this too. And we can not protect your babies too. We can give you this. The rot that this country has shown in terms of how they deal with ADOS. That's what we've tried to reflect all through this. Everything that we have done has been a reflection back to America. This is who you are. You are rotten to the core. And everybody has said, no, you're wrong. This country is not rotten. This country is mostly good. And it might have a few elements, but that's not it. That's not what allows. That it's not a few bad apples when all the police was outside while babies were getting shot up inside of a school. That's not a few. That's a problem. There's a problem in this whole country. And the roadmap to fix it is the one thing they ignore. The roadmap to fix this country is ADOS. If you fix us, you not only fix us, you figure out everything that's wrong with this country. You dig up all these rotten weeds and stuff from the root. That's how you do it. But if you tell us to forget our history, not understand that you need our history, you need it, not just us. If you tell us to forget our history, not understand that you need our history, you need to understand our history in order to fix yourself, you lose too. I'm not talking about the wealthy people in the gated neighborhood, child. Y'all are the reason that the police is doing what they're doing. I'm talking about the people who want their kids to be safe. This stuff is spreading out. It's always been on us. And until we get a fix in terms of reparations and a transformative black agenda, it's going to be on us. But this rot is not just over here right now. The stuff that y'all have been in denial about, white America, people of color America, the way y'all come over here and try to be zesty whites, the way y'all do that stuff, and you say, no, black people are a problem. You agree with the white supremacists. No, they are a problem, and they just need to follow the rules, and everything will be okay. The children followed the rules that day, and the police didn't go in and try to save nobody for an hour. So tell me what that looks like to you. You can keep pathologizing us all your life, but tell me what it looks like. Tell me what that is, because I'm gonna show you a little bit about this real quick. This other case that was the reason this man was allowed to get stabbed in the head at the subway. Precedent. Judge rules police do not have a constitutional duty to protect someone. This is 2005. Wonder what was going on in 2005 to where people probably wasn't even paying attention to this. It's just like what was going on a little while ago. Well, we didn't even see the case, but what you don't have, if you have a trash lawyer, you can't do nothing about it. That's Clarence Thomas wrote that. Ooh-wee. The Supreme Court ruled on Monday that the police did not have a constitutional duty to protect a person from harm, even a woman who had obtained a court-issued protective order against a violent husband, making an arrest mandatory for a violation. The decision, with an opinion by Justice Antonin Scalia and dissents from Justice Paul Stevens and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, overturned a ruling by a federal appeals court in Colorado. The appeals court had permitted a lawsuit to proceed against a Colorado town, Castle Rock, for the failure of police to respond to a woman's pleas for help after her estranged husband violated a protective order by kidnapping their 3 young daughters, whom he eventually killed. For hours on that night of June 22nd, 1999, Jessica Gonzalez tried to get the Castle Rock police to find and arrest her estranged husband, Simon Gonzalez, who was under a court order to stay 100 yards away from her house. He had taken the children, ages 7, 9, and 10, as they played outside, and later called his wife to tell her that he had the girls at an amusement park in Denver. Miss Gonzalez conveyed the information to police, but they failed to act before Mr. Gonzalez arrived at the police station hours later, firing a gun with the bodies of the girls in the back of his truck. The police killed him at the scene. at the scene. They didn't do that. And they didn't do nothing here. A violent husband he murdered his kids, man. And y'all didn't go get him for hours? And then the Supreme Court said you don't have a duty to protect, right? I don't even think people because so much. See, the thing is, America's going to pay for not caring about us because they can't see the rot because the rot is on us. So if it had been happening to other communities first and most, then they would see it. You can't see it because it's happening to us, and you're going to pay a price for what you do not see. You're going to pay a price for what you do not fix. You're going to pay a price for your own racial bias, violence, all of that, because that's the kind of thing that just cannot stand. If it was happening, if everybody had been getting murdered and shot and abused and the police had gone into cities and not protected them and all this stuff, everybody would have seen a long time ago we have a police problem. Would have seen it a long time ago. You don't see it because it's us. You don't care about us. There's going to be a price for not caring about us. Because it don't end here. It's not going to begin or end with rest in peace these babies. This is sick. It doesn't. They said they couldn't even identify the bodies. That's what that gun did. That's what them kind of bullets do. They need a medical examiner. This is sick stuff. But people don't even understand or did not understand that there's a problem because it was usually happening to us. So when it happens to us, well, you know how these ADOS are. These black people, they just get out here and they don't mind police. So it's not a problem. Most police is, good. I saw somebody said a mother went inside and got her kids. Let's go into this article and just review, please, shall we? Let's just review because we haven't talked about it. Some of the stuff that happened. Frustrated onlookers urged police to charge into the Texas elementary school where a gunman's rampage killed 19 children and 2 teachers. Witnesses said Wednesday as investigators worked to track the massacre that lasted upwards of it's an hour now. That says 40 minutes. It was an hour. And let me say this: Did y'all see what they say that I put it on my Twitter. They said the police lied on the teacher. Did y'all see that? Allegedly. They said the police lied on the teacher. Said that the man said, oh, a teacher left the door propped open. The teacher said, I know I shut that door. I don't know what they talking about. But remember, they told the teachers not to talk. They told the teachers not to talk during and not to say nothing during the aftermath. So why were the teachers? I think the teachers were told not to really say anything, but police was on TV. Looked like they were just lying like dogs on TV, just telling all kind of lies on the teachers who were told not to talk. So wait a minute. I'm sorry, child. This is some disgusting stuff. This is awful. Go in there, a nearby woman shouted at officers soon after the attack began, said Juan Carranza, 24, who saw the scene from outside his house across the street from Robb Elementary School in the close-knit Uvalde, close-knit town of Uvalde. Carranza said the officers did not go in. No, they didn't go in. It's dangerous inside there. He got a gun. Remember, they did encounter a school district officer, but they ain't the kind of guns they carry, child. What you gonna do with that? What you gonna do with that little bitty gun when I got this big old gun? Something's wrong with these people. Now let me just say, something's wrong with these people. But at a certain point, is somebody gonna own up to like? Not only like what happened in Buffalo in terms of the racism, we all know that was a modern day. You want to talk about a modern day lynching? It wasn't what you went through, Clarence. That was it. We're very familiar with that as ADOS. And this country is, if you want to be honest about it. That's what this country does. They always like to hunt us. And that's different than any other kind of atrocity, because it's one thing to have a mass shooting. It's another thing to know that people are actively hunting you for existing. That's what happens to ADOS. But let me just say one other thing about this whole thing. Ain't nobody gonna talk about how bloodthirsty so many people in this country are. We ain't gonna have no conversation about bloodlust and bloodthirst in this country. Because at a certain point, we gotta have that conversation too. What is it about y'all that, like, something, I don't care what it is, like, whatever, that's not, what is this, I'd like to kill things, what is that? We're not gonna talk about that? I was looking up some articles for the newsletter, and because I gotta do that, and I was looking at, and I saw an article that said in a scrapbook, there was a family that had like a wedding and some nice photos and a photo of a lynching. White America and the people who adopt that culture, the people who kind of ingratiate themselves into this kind of American thing, and I'm not saying it's everybody, don't bother me with that. What I'm saying is anybody ever going to interrogate the desire to kill things? Are we ever going to have the conversation about this wanting to murder things, people, whatever breathes, and the particular disdain to not only kill us but take everything we own and have, and run us away? But is America really ready to have the conversation about America and Americans and the kind of culture that we not only have in this country, but that we just kind of send out to the world? Are we going to do that? Child, it don't look good. Not to me. And then remember what the fourth grader said. The fourth grader said the police got her shot, basically. Got people shot. Y'all remember the fourth grader said the police told us to do something that got us hurt. But what you saying, Yvette? I just want to talk about how awful this was. I just want to talk about how a fourth grader who survived the mass shooting at Robb Elementary has shared her gut-wrenching story about what she witnessed inside the classroom. He shot the next person's door. We have a door in the middle. He opened it. He came in. He crouched a little, and he said, "It's time to die." These people. Listen. These little people are sick. There's some sick stuff. But here's the other part of that story. Here's what police did. A fourth grader who survived the shooting. This is the same story. The cop said. Pay close attention if you haven't seen this, because I just have to bring it up. The cop said, "Yell if you need help." And one of the persons in my class said, "Help." The guy overheard and he came and shot her. Then cops barged in. That sounds to me that y'all use the child and the children or teachers or whoever said help, but it sounds like a child. It sounds to me like y'all use the child as bait. Why did you say that, Yvette? Because it sounds to me like y'all was trying to figure out what the shooter was in the room. So you was trying to figure out what the shooter was. You knew if somebody yelled help, the man would do what he did. Or at least do something to let you know his location. Now, how would he do that besides shooting a gun? You needed a gunshot to go off. You know who the shooter was, so you wouldn't get shot. Use a child to protect yourself, and you want to talk to me about protect and serve. Sick. This is some sick stuff. Man was outside firing shots before he even went inside. For 12 minutes. What was y'all at? Hiding behind the bushes? Oh, it's real tough when it comes to a black person in a car. What are you doing in this neighborhood? I'm going to stop you, sir. Sir. Don't resist. Don't resist. Just don't resist. But somebody with an assault rifle not out of a school popping off is all of a sudden a problem for you, huh? Okay. Let's just go a little bit deeper into this, shall we? Miss Gomez, a farm supervisor, said that she was one of numerous parents who began encouraging, first politely and then with more urgency, police and other law enforcement to enter the school. After a few minutes, she said federal marshals approached her and put her in handcuffs, telling her she was being arrested for intervening in an active investigation. My Lord, y'all out there protecting your own incompetence and your own cowardice. And look, fam, now I heard they're not even cooperating. I heard the police not even cooperating with the feds no more. I heard they said we ain't talking. We ain't doing it no more. Mind you, let's go back to some budgets. Where's this at? This is Virginia. Look at it. Everywhere you go, though, everywhere you look at, they get all this money. This is Texas. Look at all that money. So wait a minute. We can't have transportation. We can't have public work. We can't have no library. We can't have nothing. We can't have nothing but the damn police. That's all we get. In what life does this chart make sense? In what world does this chart make sense? What world does this chart make sense? Every day I turn on that stuff, and let me tell you something. I'm sick of these news outlets acting like they can't cover Buffalo and cover the shooting in Texas. Y'all certainly can. This is ridiculous. You can't stop covering one to cover the other one. That's not how this works. It's ridiculous. But look at these budgets. People just running around. You wouldn't even go in. Y'all don't want to uproot this stuff though, right? They don't want to do it. They don't want, no. What you mean? What's going on? What's the problem? It's just a few bad apples. Meanwhile, the people who are more American than anyone, that's us. We're telling y'all, hey, Houston, you got a real big problem. From slavery to now, we understand. We understand what slave catcher do. We understand that your job is not to do stuff for the people, to everybody. You're supposed to do stuff for all the people. That's what a hero's supposed to do. Police supposed to be heroes. You get out there knowing, and I'm gonna have to take a risk for somebody because I'm supposed to do. But no, they said you don't gotta protect the people no more. Let me tell you something. It's elementary schools all around me. I pray that if I saw something like this going on, I'll go in there. I'm running. I'm not finna. Listen, sometimes you just. What kind of person are you? You let babies. America's in denial. Did y'all know that? America's in denial about who and what America is. They started changing stories too. Y'all saw that? This was a few days ago. Texas Department of Public Safety now says there was no school resource officer who engaged the shooter. 8 hours after telling CNN that the officer was interviewed about the engagement. Wait a minute. Somebody lying. Now let's talk about something that we all know. We all know that police are given time to come up with their statement. How many of y'all remember when I talked about that on the previous show? Police are given time, and that's a police union thing. You don't have to really give no statement right there. Now, if something happened to me or you, the police come out, we got to start singing like a canary. I was over there. He was over there. He came in through the back door. I ran out the front door, and then there was somebody at the front door, and then I went back to the back door. I don't know. They had guns, and they pop. I don't know. You got to start telling your story immediately. You don't start telling your story and telling it right, they're going to drag you down to the station and put some Burger King in front of you. Well, I know you must have did it. You just got to tell the truth or you can have a sandwich. Have a nice sandwich. But they get to go figure their story out. What you got to figure out? Figure out their story with the police union and figure out what makes sense. Maybe that was a resource officer. Maybe that wasn't. What makes best sense for you? Child, ain't no union more powerful than the police union. All unions have lost power in this country except for the police. And I didn't say police, I said police. Y'all know what it is. They get to come up with their story when they put together the fiction just right. Then we can come back and have a conversation about it. Listen, we've been telling y'all how many polls we had to do. Blacks are about half as likely as whites to have a positive view of police treatment of racial and ethnic groups or officers' use of force. Yes, we know what it is. We've been saying it. You just don't believe it because it's us. It's okay, though. It's okay. Experience is such a good teacher. Most white Latino officers say fatal encounters between blacks and police are isolated incidents. Majority of black officers disagree. Even the police disagree with you. It's okay. It's all right. Most officers say protests are motivated by police violence. See, y'all had us like, I don't know why they out there fighting. I don't know why they out there protesting. It don't make no sense. Most of the police is doing good work. That's what y'all was saying. That's what officers were saying. That's the proud. You know, in this country, what happens? In this country, what happens is that the officer's point of view becomes the point of view, and there's a disparity between black officers and Latino and white officers. But that becomes the point of view. Well, yeah, they probably right. You know, Negroes ain't never been behaved well. Right? That's what we heard. Even though this is from a while ago, but this just goes to show you, like, this I'm trying to show you that this data and stuff, like a lot of this information has been there. It ain't been nowhere else but here. Right? Prisoner 1 in 3 black men. We talked about it, and everybody said, "Well, they must have even our older counterpart. Well, they must have did something to be put in the jail like that." But they did. When you have 1/3 put, that's not what they did. That's what America did. Ain't no 1/3 nobody did nothing. That's what America is doing wrong. That is a design, child. An estimated 1/3 of black male Americans will spend time in state or federal prison at some point in their lifetime, more than double the rate from the 1970s, and over 5 times higher than the rate for white males. And we tried to tell you what this meant, America. We tried to tell you there's something wrong with the police and how they do policing. And y'all said, no, it's something wrong with y'all. Y'all don't respect authority. You don't bada. No, it turns out that turns out we got a point. It turns out we ain't wrong. What's driving the imprisonment of black men? Arrest data showing trend. Arrests for blacks have fallen for violent and property crimes, but have soared for drug-related crimes. See, let me tell you something. Let me come out of this for 1 second. Did y'all see what that means? Did y'all see what that meant? Did y'all see what that meant? They said arrest for violent crimes has gone down. So what happens in a country where you need ADOS to be in jail? You need ADOS to be in prison. You need ADOS to remain a bottom caste. And you look at the data and you say, you know what? Something very interesting here. The interesting thing is that the violent crimes have gone down. Isn't that right, Chad? Yes, that's right, Charlie. What do you think about it, Rebecca? I agree. Okay, so violent crimes have gone down. So how are we going to lock these people up? Drug crimes. throw a bunch of drugs in their community, and arrest them for it. And they ain't got no jobs anyway, so because of hopelessness, they're gonna end up taking the drugs, and because of money, they're gonna end up selling the drugs. Ooh, that's diabolical, baby. But that's what happened. Whole war on drugs. Well, no war. It was a war on Negroes that you needed to lock up. Who? And you ain't never cared if y'all. White people don't care if they catch up white people in the snare. They don't care about that. That is diabolical. They're not doing as many crimes. What we gonna do? No violent crime. We'll create a whole rallying cry around drug crimes. Super predators. Crackheads. And then we'll use these little dumb comedians and stuff to really sell it for us and do little crackhead jokes. Ooh, he a crackhead. And so we'll make fun of people who are addicted to drugs because they have awful lives because of what's happened to them. And then we become a part of the problem. Yeah, I don't know. He gonna have to go to, he was doing drugs. Did you ever ask, she was on that stuff. Did you ever ask what was wrong with their lives? And where'd they get them drugs from? Because we don't produce no cocaine. The only thing a Negro has ever grown is weed, and that don't even work out well. It takes too much. When then all the plants be dead. He's like, damn. Like, what are you talking about? And even though this is the reality. What's the reality of that? Even though whites are equally likely to sell and use drugs. Wait a minute. Here's the real shock. Whites are actually more likely than blacks to sell drugs and about as likely to consume them. Whites were about 45% more likely than blacks to sell drugs in 1980, according to an analysis by the National Longitudinal Survey of Youth by economist Robert Fairley. Yeah, we know that. I'm not gonna spend too much more time telling y'all what we already know. We already know that. And this question sent me. Because this is something else we gotta deal with. Child, ain't no, what you say, fam? You right, ain't no poppy fields around here. What you talking about? What are they doing the drug? Where the drugs come from? It's just insane, child. Where did it come from? A serious question. How is this guy who is far right and anti-immigrant mayor of Uvalde, which is 80% Hispanic? This shows me that white people don't understand how white Hispanic is. That's another thing we got to deal with. Where is it? It's a people of color town. What that mean? People of color, majority of Latinos say their race is white. Why do white people keep thinking Latino means people of color? That's just a zesty, spicy kind of thing. That don't mean nothing. And remember, we went through this already. You are Hispanic if you say so. If I immigrated from Phoenix to Mexico, am I Hispanic? If you say so. My parents moved to New York from Puerto Rico, am I Hispanic? If you say so. My grandparents were born in Spain, but I grew up in California, am I Hispanic? You are if you say so. This is a joke. It don't exist. ADOS exists as an ethnicity with a shared culture background. Native American actually exists. Hispanic is a made up thing concocted to my opinion, compete with ADOS for resources. That's why you don't understand. You see, the reason he doesn't understand this because he doesn't understand that Hispanics are white. That these Hispanics are white people with conservative white values for the most part. Not all. Not all, but it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. And I'm not here to lie to you about anything. I do a lot, but one thing I won't do is lie. So we're in quite a pickle, fam. It's a lot going on. And America better get ready. America better get ready, because let me tell you, it's a lot coming down the pike right now. Get yourself ready, get your family ready. We saw the grid. Y'all remember in Texas when Ted Cruz went wherever he went to on holiday, the grid went down? These are all flashpoints, just so you know. America's initial response to COVID, flashpoint. These are all deficiencies. Y'all remember when that bridge fell? Where that bridge fall at? Flashpoint. All the people died. When we have no infrastructure like we're supposed to as a first world country. Flashpoint. Food shortages, flashpoint. Biden says expect real food shortage. They said they did inflation wrong. They didn't understand it. Whatever. Flashpoint. There's some real problems in this country. No baby formula. They got the baby formula yet? Flashpoint. Listen, I don't think, and I'll say this, then I'm going to go to the phones. I don't think America understands that the only way out of this, the only way to understand this and navigate your way out of this storm is to understand what you did to ADOS and make ADOS whole, because you really, not only do we deserve to be here, and I'm not saying we're better, I'm not saying, I don't get into that melanin or kinky hair makes you naturally better. But we understand injustice better than other people. There's another reason why we should be elevated, because America needs people who understand injustice to be elevated. That's not a melanin issue. That's not a kinky hair issue. That's an experiential issue. We have an experience in this country. But America will never understand who America is. Americans will never understand America without really facing the history that they keep telling us to get over. And if you do right by us, it will help you understand what you need to do to finally deal with the people who you didn't deal with after the Confederacy, enslavers and people who have that kind of mindset. You will never understand America, how to deal with the rot in this country if you don't undo what was done to us. You will never understand it. And you will never fix it. So the thing you don't want to deal with, America, is the thing that you need to deal with and the thing you got to deal with. Or else we can just keep seeing this stuff all the time. This is horrible. And I hate it. But listen, America's in a downward spiral. It's like a hellscape. And you don't fix that by just ignoring the thing or the group that is the roadmap for you fixing that. It just won't work that way. So, fam, that's all for right now for me. Give me a second to set up the phones. You can call in and we can have the conversation as usual. All right, fam, we are back. We are back. We are back. I'm going to go to my first caller. I am going to 202. 202, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Good evening, Yvette. Hi,
Hey.
my name is Valerie. I'm calling from D.C.
Hey.
And I agree with everything that you're saying about us being the canary in the coal mine. Adolf has always been that for America.
Yeah.
Can you
Absolutely.
hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, we've always been that for America. But of course, everyone wants to denounce us and say that we are living in an alternate universe when we are at the center of the universe in this country. Everything that you want to know about America, everything that you want to know that's truthful about America, you can get it from us.
That's true.
We can give it to you chapter and verse. We have always been the people. Adolf, we're the light of this country.
Mm.
Our truth is the light of the world. This is what everyone is afraid of.
Lights the world on
But
fire.
the day is fast approaching when there's a reckoning about. There's a reckoning that is afoot. It's going to happen. There is nothing that can hold it back. And if it takes the carnage and collateral damage of others, this is what we're seeing now. It was okay when all this stuff was happening to us.
Yep.
No one ever cared.
Nobody.
Everyone was able to deny our truth and the reality of our lives. But that day is over. We are the truth. We're the light of the world. That's the it, and that's
just facts.
So until we are able to deal with this as a country, and as a country, we must deal with it. Baldwin said it a long time ago. The fire next time. If you don't want to deal with it, then it's going to come to your door. And when it comes to your door, the question is, it's going to be too late.
But ain't it coming to the door?
Because the poison is already there.
Ain't it coming to the door?
So that's all I just want to say. I just want to say that I appreciate your teachings and I appreciate Antonio's teachings. And I'm so glad that we are listening. And like you said, we can't just listen. We do have to do something. Because our future, if we don't do anything, we have no future. And we must act. And we have to do it, as you say, on a political basis, on a political level. It's not about gunslinging.
What you call it?
That's not going to solve the problem.
Gunslinging.
That's one of the issues that is the problem. So this, Dodge City mentality is not the answer.
I agree.
So I just want to say thank you again and have a great night and just hello to all the Adolf family. Love y'all. Peace.
Thank you so much. And I agree with her. We do have to act. It just is what it is, and that's why the Adolf Foundation is so important. For those of you who want to be a part and be inside the foundation, I put up again the Adolf Foundation application because I was triggered by what she said. Like we do have to act, and like it's not. I'm not being braggadocious when I say we are the only game in town. Show me another one. It just is what it is. And like we're not like people don't understand. This is community. This is building. This is doing something very differently and contributing to that thing that we're doing very differently than anybody's done before. Like that's what we are. We have to. We don't have a choice because this is a very bad place that America's in. I'm going to my next call. I'm going to 812. 812. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello, my name is Pauline. I'm calling from Northern Nevada.
Hey, Pauline.
And how are you?
Doing pretty good.
And how is everyone? I am calling to say that I really agree with what previous caller said. I really agree with everything that you have said. and it reminds me of something that members of the Nation of Islam had said back in the 90s, which is America's undoing will be the mistreatment of the former slaves.
Yep.
And I am not a young person, and I have seen cycles and cycles and cycles of trial and failure of our people. You know, vote this way, vote that way. And it seems that for every 3 steps forward, we're always going 2 steps, 5 steps backward. And like every generation has its own issue where the same old problem just morphs into something else. But by and by, the time is coming, and I am grateful for people like you and a lot of the other people who are on the internet who are really doing the heavy lifting, telling the real truth, and just helping us stay focused, be one.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I when you say the same old problems, I think it's the same old traps. They just re-engineer traps for us. And I don't think people understand that we never did nothing to y'all. And, I just, what we're seeing now, I think, and I'm not talking about this, and I think this is horrible. Like, I can't express it enough. But what we're seeing now is you can't in life, like, I think we think, like, it's been such a long time, it's been 400 years. It isn't long in the history of the world. You can't continue to do this to people who never did anything to you but build the country that you live in. Right? And they were trying to tell you it's something wrong with what's being done to us. We've always been trying to say that. You didn't see it. Okay, now, people didn't understand when Malcolm said chickens come home to roost. People didn't understand that. Well, chickens are coming home. Right? And
then the other thing I would like to just add, I'm not trying to be churchy or religious, but with all of the recent information that's coming up now, with the various genetic findings and African migration patterns, this whole notion that we could in fact be those original Hebrews. Certainly nobody wants to hear that. And I think
you're right.
that the denial of that will intensify the karmic debt that has to be paid.
Yeah, it all comes around. It comes around. It's going to come back around. It's going to come back around. Nobody wants to hear about us or the remnant or nothing about that. But it's all right. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for taking my call.
No, you have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
It's okay. What people don't want to know, what people don't want to understand, it's all right. 818, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, this is LB from Palmdale, California.
Hey.
Hi, how are you, Sister Yvette?
I'm doing good. I cannot complain.
I'm so glad that I found you today and I subbed today, and I'm going to be visiting your channel very frequently. But I just wanted to put something in the atmosphere, just critical thinking type of ideas. I was having a conversation at work the other day, and I'm like I'm the only ADOS employee where I work at. So I was speaking with a white man at work, and I was talking to him about the fact that since we've been off the plantation, we've been allowed, we read, and we are exceptional people, meaning we work 10 times harder than other people in America.
With 10 times less the reward.
I'm sorry?
I say we work 10 times as hard with 10 times less the reward than other people get for the same effort.
Exactly, and we know how to maneuver when the shit hits the fan. Excuse me for cussing, but we know how to maneuver. But I was bringing up to this white man, the 40 acres and the mule thing, because I've always done my civic duty. I've always voted. I work for the government, and I told him this year I'm thinking I'm not voting. Like, just sit this out for a little while so these people can understand what a mighty powerful people we are together.
Well, let me take. Okay, go. I'm sorry. Let me let you finish.
Since we've been reading, since we're so far from the plantation, this is one of the things that I was thinking about, and I brought it up to this white man the other day. The 40 acres and the mule thing. So if America just thought about it like, look, let's just settle this mules with the ADOS community. Let's forget about the acreage. Let's just settle the mules. Since we're so far removed from the plantation, we have learned about their interest system. So baby, that mule from 1864 has matured into like 5 American-made trucks, let's just say.
More than
but
that.
if America thought about putting that out there, like, okay, well, let's give these black people all of the ADOS, 3 American-made pickup trucks, brand new, 3, right? They owe us 5 in the interest of interest. Them doing something like that would spark the whole of America's economy, because they putting out trucks. People are working again. Flint done woke up again. The car companies in Flint, Michigan, waking up again just from settling our debt.
But let me just say this real quick, fam. That don't settle our debt. See, I think sometimes, and I just want to use you as.
And I'm not saying it settles our debt, sis. I'm just saying if they focus on just a portion of setting us straight, it would trigger this economy. America can compete. America is far from number 1 in the world. They're like 18th or something. But if they start settling the debt with us, it would make us. We would be close to number 1.
But let me tell you what the problem is. The problem is that they have a hierarchy in this country. And they don't want to settle anything because they don't want to upend the hierarchy that keeps us at the bottom. And they will cut off the country's nose to spite their face because they don't want to do that. And because they understand something. They understand.
It's so expensive. They will shoot themselves in the foot.
Well, because they understand the truth. Listen, no, fam. They understand the truth. They understand that, like, if they really give us, and if they had really give us 40 acres and a mule, they understand that we will control agribusiness, right? Because we were farmers. They understand that we will be, they understand that we were this country. We are this country. And so they understand that had we been allowed to have all these black Wall Street, it wasn't just one place, had we been allowed to do this farming, we would be selling oranges to McDonald's, right? It would be a whole different America. That's the America they don't want. It would be a more just America because you got people who understand because they have lived in justice. That's the America they don't want.
Yeah. And I was just going to say that they would rather shoot themselves in the foot, bring the whole country down than to settle this debt. I'm starting to think, like, I don't know, these people are wicked.
Well, if you settle this debt, the problem with, and let me tell you, I believe that this debt gets settled. Everything's going to pop off, though. On the road to the debt, and when it happens, everything's going to pop off. Because America has built a foundation on injustice. And this is a very just thing to do. You're going to have a problem. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a problem. Every act committed against us is a vote in favor of injustice as opposed to justice. Every police action, every housing project where we were allowed to live in dilapidated housing, every housing project that was torn down, and every slave, every lynching, it was a vote of America. First white America, then white and people of color America in favor of injustice over justice. Countries can't go on that way.
I agree, sis. And I do agree that this system is going to fall. I think we are watching this system fall. And I have told my brothers and sisters they don't want to believe me. I didn't vote for Biden. But I have told them, the black community is at war with these people, and we don't know, and we need to wake up to that. I'm sorry, these 20 kids died. They ignored Buffalo right in front of the devil's face, and the devil double tapped them with Uvalde. Like, oh, y'all laughed at this black viral death? Well, let me show you this other thing I got for you. And now nobody's laughing. I'm just saying, sis.
The devil will double down on you. Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. Good talking to you.
Always. You have a good one, all right?
You too.
Right now, going to 510. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello, is that me?
That's you, fam.
Okay, cool. Hey, Vet.
What's going on?
Hear you and see you. So this is Marika Reagan, ADOS Bay Area on the leadership team.
Hey, good to hear from you.
Thank you. Representing Oakland, home of the Black Panthers. Representing Marika Esther 1. So what I got to say is real brief. So I heard, we never did nothing to you. And the truth is, what we did to them is live. Right? Because when you have a tool that you're using to improve your life, when you're done with it, you want to discard it and be done with it. You don't want it coming back demanding rights and all this type of stuff.
Ooh.
Once they got done using us, we were supposed to be gone. Like, we're an embarrassment. So just living.
Well, hold on. Stop right there. What you just said. You said we're an embarrassment.
Okay.
I want you to pause on that because that's very powerful. You said we're an embarrassment. Mm-hmm. We are, yes. In terms of who we are, of people who built this country, worked hard, we are a condemnation, really, spiritually and otherwise. I know people like to hear that, of what America is and has become. I'm going to let you go on, fam. But I want you to slow that down. So sometimes you run past something and it's real good.
Thanks, exactly. And honestly, I don't know what is worse, white guilt or African guilt, but I think they're the same thing for the same reason. And just our survival is what we do to them. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
No, appreciate you. Thank you, fam. I think that's it. How are they still here? Like, how are they still here and fighting? Like, when you read books, people always say, oh, ADOS ain't nothing. Why y'all think y'all special? Who y'all think y'all live? When you read books, though, people are like, oh, my God. When you actually read what people say about us as opposed to what people say on the internet, they're like, oh, my God. These people have been fighting for all this time. And they're still alive. And they find a way to maneuver out of everything. And they be oppressed, but they still be there. And they find a way to stand down something and stand in something in the midst of this devilish place they in. How do they do it? There's a reason why when we started protesting here in America, we saw protests all around the world. Nobody really wants us to exist. Who wants the people to exist who ignite protests globally? We do that. We ain't never been ignited by no protest nowhere. We ignite the protest everywhere. We are a threat to global oppression. People always say, you all are. I don't know what you all are. We are a threat to global oppression, child. That's who we are. That's how powerful we are. And if we get enough of us to wake up to that, that's what I want. Like, can we get a few more ADOS to wake up? We shake the world every time. Those protests this summer, those revolts and all that stuff, the past summer, the COVID and all that stuff, you saw everything. Everybody decided, everybody was convicted. Yeah, they right. We don't get treated right here either. Inspired. Y'all don't know who you are. It's okay. You better figure it out quick, fast, in a hurry. I'm going to a 910. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Vet? This is Christian Mosley from Fayetteville, North Carolina. How you doing this evening?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm quite fired up about the topic that you kind of brought up this evening. It's very interesting seeing that, at least in my opinion, one of the things that I think is very key to understand when it comes to, of course, the main engine behind this movement that we have is, of course, reparations. But even when looking into these shootings and looking into a lot of the things that have been happening to us, one of the things that a lot of people don't understand is what happens to us on a global scale, which is the doormat effect. And I don't mean this in terms of the Black Lives Matter, in terms of we want white people to like us or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I mean in terms of it has been made publicly clear to the entire world that it's okay to disrespect us as a group. If you go anywhere in the world, they have racial slurs for American blacks or ADOS. If the immigrants come here, there is a unwritten rule that you can disrespect every group of people here, or you cannot disrespect anyone here, but you can definitely disrespect black people, which is why when certain people set up businesses in our areas, they will disrespect us to the nth degree, horrible customer service, and we just take it because we take it. And then even furthermore, when it comes to the violence that's inflicted on us, when we watch, and I believe it was, I want to say it was either you or somebody in one of the Facebook groups that posted the fact or the big contrast that under the Biden administration alone, we had one shooting at a nail salon, and Asian Americans are getting a bill put into law. It's already done.
They know what I mean with Kamala.
We've had now 2 shootings in a 7-year period, probably more than that, but 2 major ones, and we're getting hugs and candlelight vigils. Like, this is insane.
Every time.
Yeah, just about every time. And the last thing that I wanted to mention was something that's real interesting that I've seen even myself. So I've been interviewing a lot of the candidates here locally, and asking them about their agendas personally with as far as specifically the ADOS population here in Fayetteville. And what's very interesting is I had a gentleman that came on the show who is of Greek descent. And I kind of already figured, as far as all the things that we've been reading in the book clubs and different things, like when affirmative action was white and the color of law and a lot of those other resources that I've been allowed to be able to see because of you and Mr. Antonio. And one of the things that I remember him saying during this interview, and you all can go back on my channel and watch it, was that his family owns this chain called Baldino's. It is a small sandwich chain that is in South Carolina and North Carolina. They have quite a few locations. The reason they have the funds they do for that is because he had an uncle that just so happened to be cool with one of the congressmen at the time. This is back in the late 80s, early 90s. And they had this Greek man who was his uncle manage 2 of the House cafeterias in the House of Representatives up in Washington, D.C. They had a contract with the government, and they used that money to jumpstart their business. But they had the audacity to come back to us and say that we need to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people don't understand is there is no LLC on earth that can pull that off. You have to get, that's not just regular small business. That's stability. And we never get access to that. And it was very interesting for me to be able to see that personified, even on my small platform, as something that I've always heard said, I've always seen the numbers, but to actually pin it on a person that I'm seeing in real life running for an elected office, and it's happening right here in front of our faces, and we're not really, I wouldn't say we're not doing anything about it, and I think that's what I'll leave with, is that the ADOS Advocacy Foundation, I feel like, is going to move into a position that might be even more powerful than the ADL, or the Anti-Defamation League, where we are a no-nonsense group that is we don't care about other people's feelings. It's not that we don't care about other people, but we're about our people first. We're about getting our resources first. We're about getting our redress first. And then we can go out and help everybody else out. But we are at the bottom. And so we need to be treated as such and be in emergency mode.
Yeah, and I think people have to stop expecting like something to happen like this should have happened yesterday. I was all about it, but it's taken a long time. That's life. That's life. If you don't know how to run a marathon, I don't know how to teach you how to run a marathon. I can only tell you what I did to run a marathon, what I do to run a marathon. You have to run a marathon how you run a marathon. Everybody has a different process. But there's nothing I can tell you for sure that nothing good happens in the world microwave. It's not good. If you do some microwave stuff, it's probably gonna be trash. That's all I'm gonna say. Go ahead, fam. I'm sorry.
No. That was an excellent point, because that's exactly what I've been feeling and coming to understand now that I've been able to kind of put my feet in the water and start to maneuver this space a little bit. And I actually this evening just finished the interview with another representative. And at one point, and I feel like this might even be hopefully a proud moment for you, because I think you're one of the first few people that taught me how to do this effectively, which is I had a representative. I asked her what her ADOS agenda was going to be here specifically, because a lot of the really rough things that are happening here in terms of the flooding that happens in certain areas of the city affects mostly ADOS and affects property values and the like. And I asked her what is specifically going to be her agenda. And I'm talking to an ADOS woman, by the way. And her response was basically this kind of milquetoast, all lives matter answer. And she wanted to keep it moving. And I stopped her and I said, in a respectful manner, but I stopped her and I said, I hear your answer, but you didn't answer the question. I'm talking about specificity. There are a lot of different diverse groups in this city, and I'm talking about what are you specifically going to do for us? Because at the end of the day, if you don't have anything for us, you can kick rocks, and that's from the city council representative all the way to the president. And if we're not on code on every form of that, then we're not going to be able to make it. So I hopefully for everybody that's watching, I hope that you all are inspired. I know there's plenty of other people who are doing it that are learning from what you've been laying down the foundation for, to be able to stand on code and to be able to hold real people accountable. We're not, I'm not fighting in the comment section anymore. We're actually taking it to the streets.
Absolutely. Thank you, fam. I appreciate your call. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. 702, what's your name? Where you calling from and what's on your mind?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, fam. What's going on?
Hey, it's Clayton from San Diego. Acting up right now. Sorry about that.
That's fine. What it is? What's that? Who that?
I think we're all kind of looking at this kind of wrong. Hopping back on your point where the Supreme Court ruled that cops are not obligated, to protect its citizens. For a long time, I feel white America and America, America as a whole has been okay with the excuse from police. I feared for my life,
Child.
and especially when it's involving Black Americans, and we've seen cops, shoot people with cell phones or just pulling out the wallet, and cops shoot other cops, because they fear for their life. And what I'm saying is, they didn't breach that school. It took them an hour. It's because they feared for their life, and we shouldn't hop on these cops to be something they've never been. It's they feared for their life, and I mean it's almost like we forget that.
Well, they be lying though. See, that's the thing. Like most of the time when the cop says they fear for their life, they just lying. But like here, I think they really did fear for their life, and they said my life is more important than the babies.
Yeah, and I'm saying just like any other unjust shooting, or with black, these cops are not brave today, and they fear for their lives. And just like that was an excuse for Philando Castile and I forgot his name in the park, the kid in the park. Yeah, it's countless unjust shootings, but simply they fear for their lives. And
yeah, they always in fear. We can leave it there. They always in fear.
We shouldn't think any different of police.
Because of boom. They go there.
That's my point.
Appreciate you, fam. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for calling. I think.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, fam. I am going to. Oh, I'm going to go to my last caller. It's after midnight. I know we got started late because we had issues on the other one. But 480. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
What's good, sister? This is OG Patrice calling from Adolph, Arizona.
Hey.
How are you?
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
Sister, I call you every now and then because I keep telling you I'm ready. I'm ready to start this chapter out here.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. We coming. We in there now.
But listen, I'm gonna have to disagree with the earlier caller on that.
Let's talk about it.
Power, except for when it comes to us, they were trained and taught to fear us in a way that, basically shoot to kill, pretty much on sight, and don't let it be a black man. The darker his skin, the bigger he are, they were taught and trained to fear us and to shoot pretty much on sight. So when it comes to black people, they fear us to the point that they want to delete us off the face of the earth. Now, we just had a sister that just got shot 5 times by Kansas City, Missouri.
Absolutely.
Police officers, and she was pregnant. The pregnant woman. I don't know if you guys heard of it.
Unarmed. Unarmed, and I think she was backing up. Hands up.
Sorry?
I said, I think she had her hands up and she was backing up, unarmed. What I said. Yep. Go ahead, though, fam. Sorry.
Yeah, and see, this is the thing. This is what every time we, meaning black people, tell them that there's a gun in the car or I'm licensed to carry. I have a gun on my person. It always ends up being a different situation from us. Now, this gun, allegedly, this sister didn't have it on her person, in her hands, nowhere. Her hands was up, literally stepping. They telling her to get down on the ground. She's saying, I'm pregnant. I can't lay flat on the ground. Her stomach was sticking out. And they still end up shooting this sister 5 times. And thank God she's living. But the scenario is always different for us.
Absolutely.
So I just want that brother that called earlier to realize that the scenario changes when it comes to us. The narrative changes when it comes to us, my brother. But Sister Yvette, I just left a meeting yesterday with 2 of the senators that's running out here in Arizona for Senate again, which is Kelly and Benema. And they both Democrats. I don't even know why we don't have a Republican or independent running. They both Democrats. And bringing up the conversation of reparations, you can just watch their face automatically get red. So I'm asking the questions, right? And I'm saying, and I said to them, it seems like when black people talk about reparations, we get the gibberish. I said, and I'm tired of the gibberish. We need straight answers, and I want something specifically for black people. I said, so first I'm here to talk about the black hate crime that I would like to see go to Congress. I said, and I'm not talking about black and brown. I'm talking specifically for our people, the same way the Asian community and all other races of people got the hate crime bills passed for them. I said, we have had a mass shooting in Buffalo, yet let's forget our sisters and brothers with the church shooting down there in the Carolinas some years ago. I said, and it seems like we have to fight 100 times harder for everything we ask for, and we get told, vote for me.
Vote blue no matter who. I'm better than the Republican.
First, and then, go ahead, sis.
I said, no, we get told to vote blue no matter who. I'm better than the Republican.
Exactly. I said, and I'm just tired of this scenario. So I want answers to specifically what is going to be the agenda. I said, if you're afraid of the word reparation, how about I say economic resources or economic empowerment for black people? I say less every other race has gotten it and received it, and yet this very country and the fiber that it was built on the backs of my ancestors, and the wealth there is that has been passed down generationally have not benefited my people. It has benefited people that look like you. Now I'm having this conversation with them in the room, and these people turning red as I don't know what.
As well you should. As well you should have. Shoot. That's what you should have in the room.
When I tell you, I told them, I said, I want to start an ADOS chapter here in Arizona. And I said, would I have your support in this? Of course, they say, yeah, bring it on. We welcome this, things of that nature. I said, because I fight for it. I'm an advocate. I said, I'm on every platform I can on social media talking about ADOS. I said, and I really want to see that come to fruition. And I want to know that if we would have one of you that will be willing to sit down at the table and have the conversation with some of our leaders in the ADOS, from the ADOS Foundation and movement, would you be willing to do that if we start a chapter here in Phoenix, Arizona, which is where I am?
Of
and
course.
They said that they would. So Sister Yvette.
Of course that's good stuff. That's good stuff you're talking. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm ready to get it cracking. I'm ready to get it cracking, sis, because I'm tired. I have marched. I have protested.
So you blew in the face.
I'm tired. It's not working, sis.
No, it ain't. And it ain't gonna work.
I need to put
and it ain't gonna work.
On the ground. I need to put some more action behind these words that I'm saying, sis, because I'm tired. I've seen what protesting and marching looks like for years and years of it, and we get little to nothing done for our people. So I'm ready to make that move.
Thank you, fam. And it's coming. It's coming for you. I appreciate you, fam. Thank you so much for the work you do.
No problem.
Thank you. Bye. Have a good one. And somebody asked in the chat, was ADOS ever defund the police? No. Because I thought part of the reason I thought it was just sloganeering. Because listen, you gotta reach people where they at. Like this right here requires bringing this funding all the way down to like below maybe public works. That's not a defund. When people hear defund, even people in the hood or whatever, they be like, well, what happens if I get shot at? Right? You can't. It doesn't work that way. Or you kind of come in and say, well, let's bring down that funding and fund people who do mental health or whatever. Defund led people to the idea that like ain't gonna be no police nowhere, and we don't have any alternatives. Maybe build up the alternatives first. Calling police is like, it's almost like you have a nail and you call it a hammer. Even if it's a hammer, everything is a nail, right? So you have to bring down funding, and I just feel like I did a show with this, but I feel like the language was never right. Because nobody was ever prepared to. It's not about what I want. Nobody was ever prepared to get rid of no police because there was no substitute in place. We didn't have people that were going to come out for mental problems. We didn't have people that were going to come out when people had drugs. We didn't have none of that. We just said, well, just take it away. No, you have to bring it down, scale it back, put that money in other places, and then have a lot of alternatives for people, including the police. But the thing is about America, let me tell you this. In America, you have to deal with the root issue. That's just a little dressing on the thing. The root issue is what police are designed to do. We all deserve protection. It's just that the police are not designed to protect us. Listen, if the police had a constitutional duty to come out and protect me, and I could sue them for not doing that, the same way I could sue a bunch of everybody for not doing their job. If I have a doctor and the doctor messes me up doing surgery, I can sue and say, listen, you quack, you messed me up doing surgery. I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna take your coins. We don't have that with police. They are rogue and run amok. They are maintaining a racialized caste. That is what you have to undo with police. And I never thought defund the police was anything but a slogan by the left. I never thought it. And they all went away after the election. And Biden said we put a bunch of more police, and they wrote articles and didn't do a doggone thing. So, child, yeah, no. I know who was doing the defund, and I know how weak those people are, and I do not support weakness. I do not put my money on weakness because weak people have weak ideas, weak fortitudes, and weak everything. So that's how I felt about it. So just wanted to put that out there, fam. But Fam, we are past midnight, so I'm gonna let everybody go. Maybe download this video because the last one got snatched. You're like, what happened to the last video? I put it up in the community. They took it down, child. They said it was graphic violence, so I'm gonna get off of this one and try to make sure I download it so that, we'll still have it because this is a lot with these people. Anyway, fam, thank you so much for coming through. I'm happy we're able to do a show. Internet been doing a lot of stuff lately, but we here. And that's all it is to, and nothing to it but to do it. Don't forget that the ADOS Foundation /apply link is there if you want to become a part of the org before chapters are launched. You can do that. Chapters do launch this summer that we're in, so stay tuned for that as well. But however you want to do it, love to see you. Love to see your smiling face. Anyway, fam, take it. Please, please, please keep it. As I say, keep it easy breezy. Don't bother nobody. Don't let nobody bother you. Finish your libation, your chamomile tea, your Coca-Cola, your water, your what? I drink something with electrolytes. What's it called? I can't remember the name of it. I drink it outside. It's a big old thing with electrolytes. Well, whatever it is, finish it and get yourself some Z's. And we will be back next time for another edition of what is rotting in America. Anyway, fam, I'll talk to you later. Y'all be good. Bye.